Chosen one. Before you move forward with the tasks at hand, take a moment to pause and listen closely. This is not a message for the casual observer, but for those who have been marked by God's calling, those who walk with divine purpose. You have been guided to this moment for a reason. Everything that has led you here has set the stage for a significant shift in your spiritual journey. And this moment is critical for your growth and clarity in God's plan. This is a divine revelation, a message meant to open your eyes to something that has been happening beneath the surface of your life. What you are about to understand will strengthen your walk with God, empower you to move forward with greater confidence, and help you see the unseen battles around you. You have been summoned to receive this truth, and it is time for you to rise to the next level in your calling. God is using this time to elevate you spiritually, preparing you for what lies ahead. This is not just an interruption. It's a holy moment where you are being set apart to fulfill the unique role God has chosen for you. Prepare yourself for a fresh perspective as you come into the awareness of the light within you. Divine revelation. The light within. What you may not have realized until now is that you carry a unique divine light, an energy that cannot be ignored. This light is not loud or boastful, but it is powerful enough to shift the atmosphere around you. It shines even in silence, and its influence extends beyond words or actions. People may feel your presence before they even see you. It's a presence that causes subtle changes in the environment, making others feel uneasy or uncomfortable, and yet, at the same time, drawn to you. Your light awakens something in them, either a sense of admiration or an unexplainable jealousy. This tension, this pull towards you or away from you, is the spiritual energy you radiate, a gift from God that has been cultivated within you over time. This light serves as a beacon, illuminating not only your path, but also the path of those around you. But just as light attracts attention, it also draws out darkness. In the case of your colleagues, the light within you has stirred something that they can't fully understand, something they can't explain. It is their insecurities, their own internal struggles that rise to the surface when they encounter your light. And it's in this place that jealousy begins to take root. You may have noticed subtle signs of tension among those around you. An unspoken distance, awkward interactions, or even passive-aggressive behavior that seems disconnected from any real reason. The jealousy you've sensed is not about you personally, but about the divine light you carry. One that unconsciously exposes their own fears, doubts, and insecurities. This unseen energy is a direct result of the work God has done in you. It is part of your purpose, part of the unique calling God has placed on your life. You are being set apart, and as such, you will face resistance from those who are not yet ready to step into the light themselves. Your journey to understanding this process will give you the wisdom to navigate these tensions with grace and understanding. Now, as you come into the awareness of your divine light, know that this moment is not about blame or judgment. This revelation is about embracing your purpose with humility and strength. It's about understanding that the light within you is not for your glory, but to serve as a guide and a testimony of God's power in your life. Chosen one, as you walk in your divine purpose, there is an unseen force that you may have sensed around you, an energy of resistance, subtle hostility, or an unexplainable tension from those around you. This feeling, though difficult to understand, is rooted in the spiritual realm, and it is something that you must learn to navigate as part of your divine journey. Jealousy, though often not spoken, can be felt deeply by those around you. And it is important to understand that it is not a reflection of your own actions, but of the divine light you carry. What you may not fully realize is that the jealousy you are encountering is not a random reaction from those around you, but a spiritual battle. You, chosen one, carry something powerful within you, a divine presence that others can sense even if they don't consciously acknowledge it. This presence is your light, and though it shines quietly, it is incredibly powerful. Your mere existence and the energy you bring into a room can cause those who are not aligned with God to feel exposed. Jealousy arises from the fact that your light reveals something in others that they are not yet ready to confront. Your very presence shines a spotlight on their insecurities, fears, and hidden wounds, things they may not be fully aware of, but which are now being exposed by the radiance that comes from you. You may have felt the tension in the air, a subtle discomfort from colleagues, friends, or people around you who seem to be drawn to you, yet also repelled by your spirit. This is not your fault, chosen one. It is a reaction to the divine light you carry. In Matthew 5:14-16, Jesus reminds us, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Your light is not meant to be hidden. It will naturally draw attention, and with that attention, some will respond with admiration, while others will react with jealousy and insecurity. The spiritual warfare at play here is not often recognized by the natural eye. Your colleagues may not consciously know why they feel uncomfortable around you, but the truth is that the spiritual forces within them are responding to the light you carry. This battle is not about competition or rivalry in the traditional sense. It is about a spiritual confrontation where the light of God's presence inside you challenges the darkness within them. This spiritual warfare can be subtle, but it is real. You may feel it in the form of cold stares, passive-aggressive comments, or even the sense that others are trying to undermine your confidence. These reactions are not about your abilities, your actions, or your character, but about the divine energy that surrounds you. It is the enemy's attempt to hinder your progress by exploiting the insecurities of others. In Ephesians 6:12, we are reminded, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. This is a battle that transcends the physical and manifests in the spiritual realm, often playing out in the form of jealousy, resistance, and division. As you continue to grow in your divine calling, this spiritual battle will become more evident, and you will have to learn how to navigate it with wisdom, grace, and the power of God. It is vital for you to understand that the jealousy you face is not about you as an individual. While you may feel targeted or singled out, the source of this jealousy is not your actions, but the divine presence you carry. You are not the cause of the discomfort or resentment. You are simply reflecting a light that exposes the darkness within others. Your light, which comes from God, is stirring emotions and insecurities in people who have not yet embraced their own divine calling or spiritual alignment. In 1 John 3:13, we are told, "Do not be surprised, my brothers and sisters, if the world hates you. You are not to be surprised by the resistance and jealousy from others. It is not a reflection of your worth or value. It is a reflection of the spiritual atmosphere around you. You are simply walking in alignment with God's will, and that alignment creates tension in those who are not yet ready to step into their own purpose. This jealousy can be painful, especially when it comes from those close to you, colleagues, friends, or even family members. You may feel misunderstood, unsupported, or rejected. But remember, your calling is not for everyone, and not everyone will be able to understand or accept the light that you carry. Their jealousy is not a reflection of your worth, but of their own journey and growth. It is God's purpose in your life that is stirring their insecurities, and it is not something you need to take personally. As the chosen one, you are being called to persevere through these moments of jealousy and resistance. This journey is not easy, but it is necessary for the fulfillment of your divine purpose. You are not called to make everyone like you or to win approval from those who do not understand your path. Your mission is to remain steadfast, confident, and aligned with God's plan for your life. In Romans 8:31, it says, "If God is for us, who can be against us?" You are walking in the favor of God, and no amount of jealousy or resistance can stop the purpose He has set for you. Even when others are jealous, it does not diminish your value or the strength of your calling. In fact, their jealousy is a confirmation that you are walking in the right direction, because the enemy only fights those who are a threat to his kingdom. The light you carry is a powerful force that exposes darkness and brings transformation. This is a time for spiritual maturity. Instead of being discouraged by the jealousy around you, see it as an opportunity to rise higher. Your response to this jealousy will determine the impact of your calling. Will you allow it to derail you, or will you use it to fuel your purpose? Choose to walk with grace, knowing that God is with you and that He is using these challenges to refine you and strengthen your character. The jealousy you face is a reflection of the divine power within you. You are not just any ordinary person. You are a vessel of God's light, and the enemy is intimidated by that. Your presence is a threat to the darkness that surrounds others, and that is why jealousy and resistance arise. But this is also a reminder of the power you carry. As you continue to shine and walk confidently in your purpose, the light within you will grow brighter, and the resistance will eventually fade. In 2 Corinthians 4:7, Paul writes, "But we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us." The treasure that you carry is the light of God, and though it may be housed in your earthly vessel, it is far from ordinary. The jealousy that others feel is a testimony to the divine power that radiates from you even when you don't see it yourself. You are a vessel of God's glory, and it is through your obedience, faith, and perseverance that others will witness the power of God working through your life. When you navigate your professional environment, you may have encountered an energy that feels unsettling, something that doesn't quite sit right despite the outward appearance of normalcy. The workplace, which should be a place of productivity and harmony, often becomes a spiritual battleground, especially when someone with a divine calling enters the scene. You are walking in a light that many around you do not understand or cannot handle, and this often creates spiritual friction. What might appear as petty behavior, jealousy, or subtle hostility is not about you personally, but rather a spiritual conflict that is unfolding behind the scenes. The workplace, in many ways, is an arena where unseen forces collide. People may be unaware of the spiritual dynamics at play, but as someone who carries the light of God, you are a beacon in an environment that may not always align with God's will. Your presence exposes things both in yourself and others. The attitudes, insecurities, and inner struggles of your colleagues are being brought to the surface because of the divine energy you carry. And this exposure creates spiritual tension. In Ephesians 6:12, we are reminded, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." The workplace is a field of spiritual warfare, and while your colleagues may not realize it, their reactions to you often stem from a battle between light and darkness. The resistance you feel is not personal. It is a spiritual confrontation between the presence of God within you and the resistance that exists in the world. You may have noticed subtle signs of resistance or discomfort from your colleagues. Cold stares, passive-aggressive comments, or unexplainable tensions in the air. These are all manifestations of the spiritual confrontation happening in the workplace. When you walk into a room carrying God's light, you inevitably bring truth into the environment. And that truth forces others to confront their own darkness, their own insecurities, and their own fears. The light within you can be a reminder of what others lack: peace, purpose, clarity, and spiritual alignment with God. Some colleagues may feel exposed, as if your presence is shining a light on the parts of them they would rather keep hidden. This is not something you intentionally do, but it is a byproduct of your divine purpose. Your light reveals the brokenness in others, and that often causes a reaction, a defense mechanism, in the form of jealousy, frustration, or even hostility. In John 3:20, Jesus says, "Everyone who does evil hates the light and will not come into the light for fear that their deeds will be exposed. The truth of God's light within you is making others face the darkness they carry, and for many, this is an uncomfortable confrontation. The resistance you feel in the workplace is not about you or your actions, but about the spiritual forces that are being stirred up by your presence. As you continue to walk in God's calling, you may feel an emotional and mental toll from the subtle, ongoing battle in your workplace. The coldness, the fake interactions, the unseen resistance. These can all begin to affect your peace if you allow them to. The enemy's goal is to create disruption and confusion in your spirit, to distract you from your divine purpose and to weaken your resolve. But this is where spiritual discernment becomes vital. In 1 Peter 5:8, we are warned, "Be alert and of sober mind." Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. The enemy is using these subtle tactics, jealousy, hostility, and negativity, not to defeat you, but to distract you from your calling. He is trying to wear you down, to cause you to doubt your purpose and to second-guess your worth. But you must resist. The spiritual battle you're facing is real, but it is not meant to defeat you. It is meant to strengthen you and bring you closer to God. As the chosen one, your presence in the workplace is making a spiritual impact. The more you align yourself with God, the more you walk in His purpose, the more the spiritual forces around you respond. Some will be drawn to you, sensing the peace and the wisdom you carry. Others will resist because they feel convicted by the light that shines within you. Both reactions are spiritual responses to the divine energy you bring into the room. In Matthew 5:14-16, Jesus calls us to be the light of the world. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Your light cannot be hidden, and it will either attract people to God or bring about spiritual conflict. Your calling is to remain faithful to God's purpose, even when the world around you feels hostile. It is essential that you remain grounded in your faith during this spiritual battle. The enemy will use jealousy, anger, and resistance to try to derail you, but God has equipped you with everything you need to overcome. In Ephesians 6:13, Paul tells us, "Therefore put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground, and after you have done everything to stand, put on the armor of God, the belt of truth, the breastplate of righteousness, the shield of faith, and the sword of the Spirit." These spiritual tools will protect you from the attacks of the enemy and keep you focused on your divine purpose. As you walk through the workplace, remain focused on God's calling and do not let the negative energy or resistance of others shake your confidence. God has equipped you with the strength and wisdom you need to thrive in this environment. Your divine purpose cannot be thwarted by the jealousy or hostility of others. They may try to diminish your light, but they will only find that their actions draw more attention to the God within you. The workplace is not just a physical environment, it is a spiritual battlefield. And while you may be tempted to fight back, to retaliate, or to defend yourself, God calls you to respond with grace. In Romans 12:17-19, we are reminded, "Do not repay anyone evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everyone. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone." When you walk in God's purpose, your response to resistance will reflect His love and peace. Even when others attack, undermine, or show jealousy, you are called to rise above the situation and remain rooted in the love of God. Your light is meant to bring healing, not conflict. Respond with grace and let God handle the rest. As you continue to walk in your purpose, the tension and resistance around you will gradually dissolve. You may never fully understand why people react the way they do, but you can trust that God is working in and through you. Your light will shine through the darkness, and God will be glorified in all things. The enemy's tactics of jealousy and resistance are nothing more than distractions. God has already won the victory for you. Your public breakthrough is coming, and no amount of resistance or jealousy can stop what God has ordained for you. As you stay faithful to God's calling, your light will continue to shine brighter, and those who once resisted you will be forced to acknowledge the power of God in your life. The spiritual battle you face in the workplace is temporary, but the victory you are walking toward is eternal. God is using this season to strengthen you, to prepare you for what lies ahead, and to refine your character. Keep your eyes fixed on Him, and remember that you are not alone in this battle. You have the full armor of God, and He is fighting for you. Keep walking in His purpose, for your breakthrough is just ahead. Chosen one. It is important to recognize the divine authority that you carry in your life. This authority is not something you earned through worldly achievements or learned from natural sources. It has been given to you by God. This authority is forged through your relationship with God, your trials, and the experiences that have shaped you into the person you are becoming. It's a power that has been cultivated through your obedience, faith, and perseverance. Your divine authority does not come from your own strength, skills, or accomplishments. It comes from God Himself. Just as a king or queen has power because of their position, your authority is rooted in God's sovereignty over your life. You are not walking in your own power, but in the power of the Holy Spirit, who has been equipping you every step of the way. In Luke 10:19, Jesus declares, "I have given you authority to trample on snakes and scorpions and to overcome all the power of the enemy. Nothing will harm you." This spiritual authority that you have been given cannot be taken away or diminished. It is a gift from God, and the more you align yourself with Him, the more His power flows through you. Even in times when you feel weak or unsure, God's authority remains within you. Your confidence is not dependent on your emotions or external circumstances, but on the fact that you are walking in alignment with God's will. With this divine authority comes a quiet confidence, not arrogance or pride, but a deep assurance that comes from knowing that God is on your side. This confidence is a crucial part of walking in your divine calling. As you continue to fulfill God's purpose for your life, you can trust that His plans for you are greater than any opposition you might face. This is where your authority shines brightest. God's authority within you is not based on your abilities, but on your willingness to surrender and trust in Him. It's not about self-sufficiency, but God's sufficiency. As you step into the next phase of your journey, this confidence will be the foundation that enables you to face challenges with grace, wisdom, and resilience. In 2 Corinthians 3:4-5, Paul states, "Such confidence we have through Christ before God. Not that we are competent in ourselves to claim anything for ourselves, but our competence comes from God." Your competence, your authority is God-given. This assurance allows you to walk boldly, knowing that you are empowered by God to accomplish the tasks He has set before you. The authority you now walk in has been shaped and refined through the trials you have faced. God has used your struggles and challenges as a way to build your strength and prepare you for what is to come. Just as gold is purified by fire, your spiritual authority has been tested through adversity. Each challenge you faced has equipped you with a deeper understanding of who you are in Christ and has prepared you to step into your calling with greater power. In James 1:2-4, it is written, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance." Chosen one, as you continue on your journey, it's important to understand that the jealousy you experience from others is not about you or your actions. It's a spiritual dynamic at play, a reflection of their own inner emptiness and the dissonance between their lives and the divine light that shines within you. When you carry God's presence and walk in alignment with His purpose, you unconsciously reveal the gaps in others, the parts of their hearts that are disconnected from God, the brokenness they have not yet confronted. This exposure can often lead to feelings of jealousy, but this jealousy is not a personal attack on you. Rather, it reflects the spiritual emptiness in others, a gap they feel because they are not yet aligned with God's calling. When someone is spiritually empty, they are constantly seeking external validation or fulfillment in worldly things. This could be through achievements, relationships, material possessions, or public recognition. However, these pursuits can never fill the void inside of them. Their spirit is hungry for something deeper, something eternal, a connection with God. As you walk in God's purpose, your very presence becomes a reflection of what they are missing. Your light exposes the darkness in their own hearts, whether they are aware of it or not. This inner void is what gives birth to jealousy. People become jealous not because of your success, but because your very being calls them to confront their own lack of purpose and spiritual alignment. Your peace purpose and divine favor serve as a reminder that they are not at peace with themselves or with God. This spiritual emptiness often manifests as jealousy, envy, or even passive-aggressive behavior. You may encounter people who, instead of celebrating your successes or walking alongside you in friendship, try to undermine you or push you aside. This resistance has nothing to do with you personally. It's about their internal struggle and their difficulty in seeing the beauty of the divine transformation that you are going through. It's crucial for you to understand that this jealousy is not about you, but about them. When people react in this way, it is because they have not yet reconciled their own inner battles. They are not at peace with who they are, and your spiritual alignment forces them to acknowledge their inner conflict. This is a difficult truth to swallow, but it's important to recognize that their feelings of jealousy are a direct response to the light you bring into their world. You may feel like you're being unfairly judged, rejected, or undermined, but you are simply walking in the fullness of God's purpose, and that light naturally triggers resistance in those who are not aligned with God. In Matthew 5:14-16, Jesus said, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Your light is meant to shine, and sometimes that light will reveal things in others that they are not ready to confront. This is not your fault, nor is it something you need to apologize for. The jealousy that arises is a reaction to the light you bring, and you are not responsible for it. Instead, you are called to continue shining, knowing that God is using you to bring awareness and transformation. While jealousy may seem like a negative force, it is in reality a sign that God is at work. When others feel the discomfort of your light, it is not a sign of failure. It is often an opportunity for healing. Their reaction is an unconscious invitation to confront their own spiritual emptiness. You are not the cause of their jealousy, but your light can act as a mirror, helping them see what is missing in their own lives. You are not called to change others through your actions or words, but through your presence. Your purpose is to reflect God's love and truth. And as you walk in alignment with that purpose, you give others the chance to recognize their own need for transformation. Your light has the potential to spark spiritual awakening in those around you. The jealousy they feel can ultimately lead them to a deeper connection with God if they choose to face their own internal struggles and allow God to heal their spiritual emptiness. As you recognize that jealousy is a reflection of spiritual emptiness, you are also called to respond with compassion. You don't need to retaliate or defend yourself. Your presence alone is a testimony to what God is doing in your life. While jealousy may manifest as hostility or rejection, choose to respond with grace and love. This is not about condoning their actions or letting them walk over you, but about recognizing that they are wrestling with something deeper. In Romans 12:21, we are instructed, "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." Your light will overcome jealousy when you choose to respond in love, showing patience and kindness, even when others are resistant. This is the power of God's love working through you. When you respond in this way, you become a vessel of healing, helping others confront their own spiritual void and inviting them into the same peace you have found in God. What you're experiencing is not a battle with flesh and blood, but a spiritual war. Jealousy and resistance are tools that the enemy uses to distract you from your purpose. The enemy wants to use the jealousy around you to make you doubt your worth, question your calling, and give up on your purpose. However, you are more than a conqueror in Christ, and no amount of jealousy can take away the light God has placed inside of you. In Romans 8:37, we are assured, no, in all these things, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. God is using this jealousy to refine your character and bring you into alignment with your purpose. It is a spiritual battle, but one that you are already victorious in. The enemy's attacks are simply confirmation that you are on the right path. You have been equipped to overcome this spiritual resistance, and your light will continue to shine regardless of how others respond. Chosen one. As you walk deeper into the path God has set before you, it is crucial to understand how your divine purpose impacts those around you. The light and calling you carry are not only life-changing for you, but they also have a ripple effect on those who encounter you. This impact is not always positive, as some will be drawn to your light, while others may feel threatened by it. The presence of God within you causes a spiritual reaction in others, and for some, this reaction manifests as jealousy. Jealousy is not always easy to deal with, especially when it arises in relationships that you value or when it comes from people you work closely with. However, understanding the spiritual dynamic at play will help you navigate these challenges with wisdom. The jealousy others feel towards you is not a reflection of who you are, but rather a reflection of their own inner struggle and lack of alignment with God's purpose. It is crucial to remember that this jealousy is not about your worth, but about the divine energy you carry and how it exposes the spiritual gaps in others. Your divine purpose is like a spiritual force that cannot be ignored. When you align yourself with God's will, your actions and presence become a manifestation of His glory in the world. Those around you, particularly those who have not yet embraced their own calling, will often feel exposed by the light that shines from within you. This exposure brings about a spiritual response. Some will be drawn to the light, while others will resist it. Jealousy arises when people feel threatened by the peace purpose and divine favor you carry. In John 3:20, Jesus says, "Everyone who does evil hates the light and will not come into the light for fear that their deeds will be exposed." The light within you forces people to confront what they may not yet be ready to face. This light reflects their inner struggles, insecurities, and unresolved issues. Instead of embracing the truth, it brings some may react negatively, feeling anger or resentment. This is the enemy at work, using jealousy as a tool to disrupt your journey and hinder the divine calling you are walking in. Jealousy is a spiritual force that can be destructive if left unchecked. Those who feel jealous of you are struggling with their own spiritual alignment. It's not about you personally, but about what your light reveals in them. Their jealousy is rooted in spiritual emptiness. They may not be consciously aware of it, but your presence is challenging them to look at themselves and ask hard questions. Why are they feeling insecure? Why do they feel threatened by your success and your calling? These questions are not necessarily about you, but about their internal conflicts and unresolved fears. As someone who is walking in divine purpose, you are carrying a light that illuminates the darkness in others. And this is where jealousy finds its root. It is a spiritual reaction to something they can't control, the light of truth and purpose that is shining through you. Instead of seeing your light as a reflection of God's goodness, they may view it as a threat to their own sense of peace or identity. Their jealousy is often an unconscious acknowledgement that they are not walking in alignment with God's will, and your presence brings this unaddressed dissonance to the surface. Though jealousy can be painful, especially when it comes from close relationships or colleagues, it is also an opportunity for healing and growth. The jealousy others feel toward you is not necessarily a permanent stance. It is a manifestation of something that needs to be healed within them. Your calling may bring uncomfortable truths to the surface, but it is also a chance for them to confront their spiritual gaps and align with God's purpose for their own lives. In Matthew 5:14, Jesus calls us to be the light of the world, and this light is meant to draw people closer to God. Your purpose is to shine, and in doing so, you may bring others to a place of self-reflection and spiritual awakening. The jealousy others feel can be transformed into an opportunity for healing. As they confront their own insecurities and spiritual emptiness, they are being given a chance to experience the healing and restoration that God offers. Your divine purpose is a catalyst for transformation, not only for you, but for those around you, including those who may initially resist you. The key to overcoming jealousy in your life is not through retaliation or anger, but through compassion and understanding. God has called you to be a reflection of His love, and that includes responding to jealousy with grace. Instead of engaging in the same behavior or giving in to frustration, choose to respond with kindness, patience, and understanding. Remember that the jealousy others feel is a reflection of their internal battles, and they are not consciously targeting you. They are struggling with their own sense of purpose, value, and spiritual alignment. In Romans 12:14-21, Paul writes, "Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." As you face jealousy and resistance, you are called to overcome these obstacles with love and compassion. Your light will shine brighter in the face of opposition, and your grace will speak volumes to those who are struggling with their own issues. Your response to jealousy can be a powerful witness to others, showing them that there is a better way, a way of peace, love, and understanding. One of the most profound ways to deal with jealousy is by maintaining inner peace. The more secure you are in God's purpose for your life, the less power jealousy will have over you. When you know who you are in Christ, and you are confident in the path He has laid before you, jealousy becomes less of a threat. You are secure in your identity, and no external force can alter that. Your peace will disarm the enemy and keep you centered on your divine purpose. In Philippians 4:7, Paul assures us, "And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." This peace is your protection against the spiritual attacks that jealousy may bring. When you are at peace with who you are in God, the jealousy of others will have less power over you. Your calmness, grace, and trust in God will reflect His glory, and over time, the resistance you face will weaken. Remember, chosen one, that your divine purpose is bigger than the jealousy and opposition you face. The light you carry is a reflection of God's love, and it will continue to attract both admiration and resistance. Do not allow jealousy to derail you or make you doubt your calling. Your purpose is much greater than the temporary opposition you face, and God is using these challenges to refine your character and strengthen your resolve. In 2 Corinthians 4:7, Paul writes, "But we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us." Your light is a treasure, and God has placed it in you to bring glory to His name. The jealousy and opposition that you face are not a reflection of your failure, but of the power of God at work in you. You are being prepared for greatness, and the world will eventually see the fruit of your obedience and faithfulness. As you move forward in your divine purpose, it is crucial to understand the role that discernment plays in navigating your relationships and interactions with others. You may find yourself surrounded by individuals whose intentions are not always clear. Some may appear to support you outwardly but have hidden motives. Others may approach you with kindness only to reveal ulterior motives later. In these moments, spiritual discernment becomes your greatest tool. Spiritual discernment is the ability to perceive and understand the true nature of a situation or a person. It's about seeing beyond the surface, looking past the outward appearances and actions, and recognizing what is truly in the heart. Discernment is not about judgment. It is about wisdom and understanding. It allows you to distinguish between what is aligned with God's will and what is simply a distraction or manipulation. In 1 Corinthians 12:10, we are reminded of the spiritual gifts, one of which is discernment, to another, distinguishing between spirits. This gift of discernment enables you to understand the spiritual forces at work around you. It is not just about recognizing the intentions of others, but also about recognizing the invisible spiritual dynamics that influence people's actions. As you step into your purpose, you will encounter various individuals with different intentions. Some will be drawn to your light, eager to support and walk with you on your journey. Others may seek to undermine you or use you for their personal gain. It is in these moments that your ability to discern their true intentions will be essential to maintaining your focus and protecting your divine calling. Not everyone who comes into your life is meant to stay. Some may appear to be friends offering support and companionship, but as time goes on, their true motives may become clear. False friendships are one of the greatest dangers that can distract you from your purpose. A false friend may pretend to support you, but secretly harbor jealousy, competition, or resentment. They might use your vulnerability against you, manipulating your trust for their benefit. Discernment allows you to see beyond their outward actions and recognize when someone's heart is not aligned with God's will. It is important to know that you do not have to keep people in your life who do not have your best interests at heart. God will reveal their true nature to you in His perfect timing. And it is essential that you follow His guidance in knowing when to distance yourself from individuals who are toxic or insincere. Proverbs 12:26 tells us, "The righteous choose their friends carefully, but the way of the wicked leads them astray." As you walk in your divine calling, you must be wise in your relationships. Not every person who claims to be your friend is sent by God, and not every relationship will lead you toward your divine destiny. Discernment will help you recognize those who are sent by God and those who are sent by the enemy to derail your purpose. Another area where discernment is critical is in recognizing false praise and compliments. As you begin to walk more boldly in your calling, you may receive more attention, both positive and negative. While praise and compliments can feel validating, they can also be used as tools of manipulation. A person who praises you excessively may be attempting to manipulate your actions or gain your favor for their personal gain. Discernment helps you see beyond the flattery and recognize when someone's words are not coming from a genuine place. People may compliment you to gain your trust or favor, but their intentions may not be pure. Proverbs 29:5 says, "Whoever flatters their neighbor is spreading a net for their feet." Flattery is often a mask for manipulation. People who seek to manipulate you may use compliments to lower your defenses and gain access to your trust, which can ultimately be used to control you. Your discernment will allow you to recognize these tactics and prevent them from taking root in your life. There will be individuals who come into your life with self-serving motives. They may seem like they are interested in your well-being, but in reality, they are seeking something for themselves. Whether it's influence, power, money, or personal gain, these individuals may not have your best interests at heart. Spiritual discernment allows you to see these selfish intentions clearly. When someone is only present for what they can gain from you, their actions will begin to reveal their true nature. They may try to take more than they give, or only approach you when they need something. Discernment enables you to distinguish between those who genuinely care about you and those who see you as a means to an end. The key to navigating these relationships is trusting God's guidance. When you are aligned with His will, He will reveal to you who is truly for you and who is just using you for personal gain. Proverbs 13:20 warns us, "Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm." Surround yourself with individuals who genuinely support your journey and are aligned with God's purpose. Don't waste time on relationships that drain your energy or pull you off course. Discernment is not just about recognizing someone's words, but also understanding their actions. People may say one thing, but their actions often speak louder than words. The true intentions of a person will eventually be revealed through their actions. Discernment helps you to see beyond what is said and recognize the hidden motivations behind a person's actions. For example, a person who acts as though they are helping you, but is constantly putting their own needs and desires ahead of yours, is showing you their true intentions through their behavior. Actions speak louder than words. Discerning these actions will help you navigate relationships with wisdom and understanding. As you grow in discernment, you will learn to trust God's guidance in revealing the truth behind actions and motives. The gift of discernment is meant to be used wisely, not just to protect yourself, but to guide you in your relationships and decisions. It's not about judging others, but about walking with wisdom in all your interactions. 1 John 4:1 urges us, "Dear friends, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God." This is the essence of discernment, testing the spirits, or testing the motivations and intentions behind people's actions. In your journey, there will be moments when discernment will help you avoid harmful situations or relationships that would derail your purpose. Trust that God will reveal the truth to you when you seek His guidance. You are not meant to navigate this journey alone. God has equipped you with everything you need to succeed, and discernment is one of the most important tools He has given you. As you continue to step into your divine calling, remember that discernment will help you protect your peace, purpose, and destiny. Stay alert to the people and situations around you, and trust that God is equipping you to make wise decisions. Discernment will help you navigate the challenges ahead and will ensure that you are walking in God's will for your life. Remember, you have the power to choose who you allow in your life, and discerning the intentions of others will help you make those choices wisely. As you walk in discernment, you will grow closer to God, and He will continue to guide you in fulfilling your divine purpose. Trust God, and He will lead you to the right people and away from the wrong ones. Chosen one, as you continue to walk in your divine calling, there will inevitably be moments when you encounter jealousy from those around you. This jealousy may not always be expressed openly, but you will sense it in the subtle reactions of others. Cold stares, passive-aggressive comments, or even a feeling of being undermined. The more you grow into your purpose, the more you will realize that your presence and your light stir something in others, something they may not fully understand but are compelled to react to. When facing such resistance, it's tempting to fight back to defend yourself or to make sure that everyone understands your worth and your calling. But God calls you to respond differently, to remain silent, to let your actions and your light speak for themselves, and to trust that He will handle the rest. The power of remaining silent in the midst of jealousy is not about passivity or inaction. It's about choosing to trust God's plan and letting go of the need to prove yourself to others. Remaining silent in the face of jealousy requires a kind of strength that the world doesn't understand. In a culture that often values confrontation, assertion, and self-promotion, silence can seem like weakness. But spiritual strength comes not from defending yourself, but from trusting that God will fight your battles for you. In silence, you allow God's justice to prevail and His will to be done in His perfect timing. When jealousy arises, it's often accompanied by a desire to react, to defend your character, to explain yourself, to counter the accusations, or to prove that you are worthy of the success and purpose you carry. However, God's Word teaches us a different approach. In Proverbs 15:1, it says, "A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." This wisdom reveals that in the face of jealousy or criticism, responding with harsh words or actions only escalates the situation. But responding with grace and silence can bring peace, allowing you to retain your dignity and let God take care of the rest. In Psalm 37:7, we are encouraged, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. When jealousy arises, be still. Do not fret or rush to defend yourself. Wait patiently for God's timing." In those moments of stillness, you allow God to step in and handle the situation according to His will. Remaining silent doesn't mean you are doing nothing. On the contrary, it means you are trusting that God is actively working on your behalf. In Exodus 14:14, God promises, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." This verse is a powerful reminder that you are not in this battle alone. God Himself will fight for you when you place your trust in Him and choose not to retaliate. God's victory is not dependent on your actions, but on your willingness to submit to His will and allow Him to handle the situation in His perfect way. It's important to note that God's timing and ways are far beyond our understanding. We may feel the urge to act quickly, but God's strategy for victory may require waiting. Remaining silent is not a sign of weakness, but of obedience and trust in God's perfect plan. He sees everything that happens, and He will ensure that justice is served not according to your timing, but according to His. In Romans 12:19 we are told, "Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath. For it is written, 'It is mine to avenge. I will repay,' says the Lord." God promises to handle the situations that arise in your life, especially those that involve jealousy or unjust treatment. Your job is to trust that He will take care of it in His perfect timing. When you remain silent, you allow God to fight your battles, and you can be sure that He will handle them better than you ever could. When you remain silent in the midst of jealousy, you are also choosing to trust God's timing. Often, the world pressures us to act quickly, to prove our worth, or to take matters into our own hands. But God's timing is perfect, and what may seem like a delay is actually His way of preparing you for something greater. The silence is a moment of preparation, a time when God is working in the background, orchestrating things that you cannot see or understand yet. God's timing is not like ours. We often want things to happen quickly, but God uses time to refine us, to grow our faith, and to strengthen our resolve. In Isaiah 55:8-9, God reminds us, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." When you remain silent and patient, you align yourself with God's perfect timing. You allow His plans to unfold in the right way at the right time. Remaining silent also allows your light to shine even brighter. When you respond to jealousy or conflict with silence, you are not only walking in obedience to God, but you are also letting your light shine. Matthew 5:16 tells us, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." When you remain silent in the face of jealousy, you are demonstrating your spiritual strength, showing others that your worth is not determined by their opinions, but by your relationship with God. Silence in the face of adversity is a powerful testimony. People may try to provoke you, but your ability to remain calm and focused on God's will draw attention. Your response to resistance will reveal the strength and peace that comes from walking with God. In moments of silence, you are allowing God's peace to flow through you. And this peace will speak louder than any words you could say. There is a great victory in silent obedience. When you choose not to engage in confrontation, when you remain focused on God's will, you experience a spiritual breakthrough. God sees your obedience, and in His perfect timing, He will reveal the victory He has prepared for you. In 1 Peter 3:9, we are told, "Do not repay evil with evil, or insult with insult. On the contrary, repay evil with blessing, because to this you were called so that you may inherit a blessing." Your silent obedience opens the door to God's blessings. As you choose to let God fight your battles, you position yourself for His favor and His divine reward. The breakthrough you are waiting for will come when God's perfect timing aligns with your obedience, and it will be far more powerful than anything you could have achieved by acting out of frustration or anger. It's important to remember that the journey you are on is not just about personal growth and fulfillment. It is also about God's divine vindication. There are moments in life when you will feel misunderstood, rejected, or even betrayed by those around you. In such moments, it can be easy to lose heart, but you are reminded that your story is not over, and that God has a way of bringing about His justice and vindication in ways that will leave no room for doubt. Divine vindication is not about seeking revenge or retaliation. It is about allowing God to move in your life in a way that confirms His calling on your life. This process of vindication is spiritual, and it occurs when God works on your behalf to expose the truth, restore what was lost, and bring honor to His name through your faithfulness and obedience. The power of divine vindication is that it comes when you least expect it, and often through situations that seem impossible to overcome. The world may not always understand your journey, and there may be times when it seems as though those around you are prospering while you face constant challenges and setbacks. Yet divine vindication is promised to those who walk in alignment with God's will. When you remain faithful, even in the face of opposition, God will vindicate you in a way that no one can ignore. In Psalm 75, 6-7, it is written, "No one from the east or the west or from the desert can exalt themselves. It is God who judges. He brings one down, He exalts another." God's vindication is not about elevating you in a worldly sense, but about revealing His glory through your life. God's timing for your vindication will always be perfect. It may not come immediately, but when it does, it will be unmistakable, undeniable, and powerful. You may not see the full picture now, but trust that God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating events, and preparing the right time for His power to be revealed. What others intended for harm, God will turn for your good. In Genesis 50:20, Joseph said to his brothers, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." God uses every hardship, every setback, and every betrayal as part of His plan for your divine vindication. Divine vindication is not always about external circumstances. Often, it begins with a shift in the spirit. You will begin to feel a change in your spirit, a sense of peace and confidence that comes not from the world's approval, but from God's approval. As you continue to walk in your calling, God will give you a deeper sense of assurance that He is with you and that the enemies of your purpose cannot prevail. In Isaiah 54:17, we are reminded, "No weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you." This spiritual shift is a sign that the attacks, the jealousy, and the opposition you have faced are not the end of your story. They are simply part of the journey preparing you for divine elevation. As you stand firm in your faith, God's presence will shield you from the spiritual battles that arise, and you will experience a deep sense of peace in the midst of the chaos. One of the key aspects of divine vindication is faithfulness. The more you walk in alignment with God, the more His justice will unfold in your life. God's vindication is a reward for your steadfastness and obedience, not a reaction to your enemy's actions. When you remain faithful, even when it seems like no one is noticing, God sees everything. Every tear you've shed in private, every time you've chosen grace over retaliation, every moment of trust in God's timing, all of it matters. Your faithfulness will be rewarded, not in the way the world expects, but in the divine way that God has planned for you. In Matthew 25:21, Jesus shares the parable of the talents where the faithful servant is rewarded. "Well done, good and faithful servant. Come and share your master's happiness." God sees your faithfulness, and His reward is not temporary or shallow, but eternal. As you continue to walk in obedience, trusting that God's timing is perfect, you will begin to see the fruits of your faithfulness manifest in your life, and those who once resisted you will witness the evidence of God's vindication. The opposition you face, especially from those who may be jealous or threatened by your light, is not a reflection of your worth. It is simply a spiritual test to strengthen your character and prepare you for your God-given purpose. In Matthew 5:44, Jesus teaches, "But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." This is the essence of overcoming opposition with grace. When you respond to resistance with grace, it shifts the atmosphere. It diffuses the power of jealousy and opens the door for God to work in ways you cannot imagine. Responding to jealousy and opposition with grace does not mean you are weak or passive. On the contrary, it shows great strength and confidence in God's ability to fight on your behalf. Your grace becomes a weapon that disarms the enemy and removes his ability to control the situation. The more you walk in grace, the more God will reveal his power through your life, and the more your enemies will see the truth of God's justice unfolding. As divine vindication takes place, you will begin to see fruitful results. The breakthrough you have been waiting for will come, and it will be clear that God has been at work. You will see the restoration of what was lost, the promotion of your calling, and the acknowledgement of your purpose. The people who once resisted or misunderstood you will either be removed from your path or come to a place of reconciliation. In 2 Samuel 22:47, David declares, "The Lord lives. Praise be to my rock. Exalted be God the rock, my Savior." This victory is not your own, but a result of God's hand in your life. As you receive the fruit of divine vindication, you will realize that this season was not about the battle, but about the glory of God being revealed through your obedience and faith. The ultimate vindication for the chosen one is not merely about external recognition. It is about the divine alignment that God has established in your life. Your identity is no longer defined by the jealousy or opposition you faced. It is defined by the purpose and calling God has placed on your life, and that calling cannot be stopped. As you move forward in this new season of vindication, walk in confidence, knowing that your divine assignment is secure. Your authority in Christ is unshakable, and no weapon formed against you will prosper. The final victory will be a testimony of God's faithfulness, and your journey will inspire others who have faced similar challenges. The jealousy and resistance you encountered will eventually be overshadowed by God's glory. In the end, it will be clear that God has been faithful to his promises, and his plans for you cannot be thwarted. As you continue to walk in your divine calling, keep your eyes on God. He is the one who elevates, and his divine vindication will be your ultimate reward. Keep shining, keep walking, and know that your victory is already secured through God's unfailing love and power.